The outpost sat alone on the edge of a frozen moon, a speck of human metal against endless black. No trade lanes. No colonies nearby. No reason, the alien scouts decided, for anything valuable to be there. Their senses swept the structure again and again, returning the same answer every time. Low power output, obsolete shielding, minimal life signs. A forgotten human listening post, barely worth the fuel it would take to erase it. The alien fleet commander allowed a flicker of amusement. Humanity was known for bravado, not foresight. If this was how they guarded their borders, conquest would be effortless. The attack began without ceremony. Orbital weapons struck first, lances of energy cutting through the moon's thin atmosphere. The outpost's outer shields flared once, twice, then failed. Hull plating buckled. Antennas snapped and vanished into debris. No counterfire followed. No sudden surge of power. Just silence. The aliens advanced confidently, landing assault units across the surface. Breach teams cut through airlocks that resisted only briefly before giving way. Inside, they found narrow corridors, dim emergency lighting, and signs of hurried evacuation. Equipment lay abandoned. Storage lockers were half open. The humans, it seemed, had run. The first resistance came late and weak. A handful of human defenders fired from cover, their weapons outdated and inaccurate by alien standards. The skirmish lasted seconds. The humans fell back, retreating deeper into the facility, leaving behind damaged defenses and wounded comrades. The aliens recorded the encounter as confirmation. Human forces were poorly trained and unprepared. What the aliens did not know was that every movement, every shot, every casualty was being monitored far from the moon itself. Deep within Earth's command network, analysts watched feeds stream in from hidden sensors embedded throughout the outpost. They did not issue panicked orders. They did not scramble reinforcements. Instead, they checked boxes, adjusted parameters, and marked timestamps. The outpost had a designation known only to a select few. Worst Day Scenario Test Site. Its purpose was simple and brutal: simulate the moment when everything goes wrong. As alien forces pushed forward, entire sections of the base powered down on schedule. Doors failed to seal. Defense turrets misfired or jammed exactly as designed. Communication nodes went dark, isolating human units from one another. To the attackers, it looked like collapse. To Earth's command, it was phase alignment. Alien troops advanced faster now, emboldened by the lack of coordination among human defenders. They encountered small pockets of resistance, brief, desperate firefights followed by sudden retreats. No heroic last stands. No self-destruct sequences. Just humans falling back again and again. The alien commander frowned. Humans were supposed to be emotional. Irrational. Their histories were filled with dramatic sacrifices and reckless courage. Yet here, there was none of that. The defenders fought only long enough to gather something, data, perhaps, before withdrawing. It was inefficient, almost lazy. Deeper inside the facility, the aliens found signs of civilian presence: living quarters, supply caches, emergency shelters. Some were empty. Others showed evidence of recent occupation. This puzzled them. Why station civilians at a border outpost? Why leave them behind during an evacuation? The answer lay in the drills unfolding simultaneously across Earth. The outpost's fall triggered protocols in dozens of military academies and command centers. Officers in training were handed live data feeds and impossible scenarios. Civilian survival simulations were activated. Logistics teams practiced triage under invasion conditions. The outpost was not just a battlefield, it was a test signal. Back on the moon, the aliens breached another sector and encountered something unexpected. A trap. Crude, but effective. A collapsing corridor crushed 2 soldiers before their armor could compensate. Moments later, human fire erupted from angles the aliens hadn't anticipated. The defenders withdrew again, but this time they took alien weapons with them. The alien commander dismissed the losses as statistical noise. No battle was without friction. Still, he ordered a slight tactical adjustment. Different formations. Increased sensor sweeps. The next engagement punished that adjustment immediately. The humans anticipated the change, exploiting gaps before the aliens realized they existed. Another brief clash. Another retreat. Another data point logged by Earth's observers. By now, alien forces controlled nearly half the outpost. Victory seemed inevitable. Yet reports from the field began to carry an odd tone. Human resistance, though dwindling in numbers, was becoming more precise. Their movements were faster. Their aim improved. They adapted to alien equipment with alarming speed. This made no sense. A collapsing defense should grow weaker, not sharper. The alien commander ordered a full push toward the core. He wanted this finished. The longer it dragged on, the less comfortable it felt. Humans were not behaving like a defeated species. They were behaving like students halfway through an exam. As the order went out, deep within Earth's command hierarchy, a simple confirmation appeared on countless displays. Phase 1 complete. Proceed. No one cheered. No one celebrated. There was only quiet focus as humanity prepared to learn everything it needed from the enemy that thought it was winning. The outpost continued to fall exactly as planned. With each sector lost, the humans retreated deeper, abandoning ground without hesitation. To the alien assault forces, it looked like discipline cracking under pressure. To Earth's command, it was confirmation that the drill was progressing on schedule. Systems failed in controlled patterns. Backup generators kicked in late. Automated defenses activated seconds too slow. Every flaw mirrored the kind of chaos expected on humanity's worst possible day. Alien units spread through the structure, mapping corridors and securing intersections. Their confidence grew with every meter gained. Human resistance was thinning, their numbers visibly reduced. Yet something about the engagements unsettled the veterans among the alien ranks. The humans never fought blindly. They never charged. They never panicked. Each encounter felt deliberate, measured, as if the defenders already knew the outcome before the fight began. Orders came down from alien command to accelerate the assault. The base was too valuable to risk hidden countermeasures. Entire wings were stormed at once. Breach teams advanced through smoke and debris, expecting chaos. Instead, they found emptiness. Human defenders had vanished minutes earlier, leaving behind power tools, damaged armor, even medical kits. Nothing vital. Nothing irreplaceable. Only enough clutter to slow pursuit. As the aliens pressed forward, new problems emerged. Doors that should have sealed remained open, funneling troops into narrow kill zones. Gravity fluctuated unexpectedly, disrupting movement. Lighting failed, then returned at blinding intensity. The first truly coordinated human ambush struck without warning. From concealed maintenance shafts and ceiling panels, fire poured down with brutal precision. The humans targeted joints, sensors, and exposed conduits, not center mass. Alien armor compensated too late. Several soldiers fell before the humans disengaged and melted away once more. This was no longer the behavior of a routed force. Alien commanders adjusted again, deploying counter-ambush formations and enhanced sensor drones. The response came swiftly and unnervingly. Human tactics shifted almost immediately. Drones were baited into traps. Sensor data was flooded with false positives. A weapon the aliens introduced only hours earlier was already being neutralized by improvised shielding made from salvaged materials. On Earth, analysts watched the data scroll by in real time. Each alien adaptation was catalogued, dissected, and transmitted across secure networks. Training officers paused simulations, inserted new variables, and resumed. Cadets were forced to respond to scenarios unfolding live light years away. Mistakes were corrected instantly. Lessons were learned at a speed no alien doctrine had ever accounted for. Within the outpost, communication failures worsened. Human units lost contact with one another, just as designed. Instead of collapsing into confusion, they operated independently, using pre-established fallback behaviors. Lone squads coordinated without speaking, responding to environmental cues and enemy movement patterns. The aliens, accustomed to centralized command structures, struggled to predict them. Then the civilians appeared. In one sector, alien troops breached an emergency shelter expecting frightened non-combatants. Instead, they found hardened survival teams executing evacuation drills under fire. Civilians moved with purpose, shielding one another, obeying silent hand signals. When threatened, they scattered along pre-planned routes, drawing alien units into crossfires prepared moments earlier by retreating soldiers. The aliens were forced to expend time and manpower securing areas that should have been liabilities, not assets. The concept disturbed them. Humans were training everyone, not just their soldiers, to survive invasion. Losses mounted. Not catastrophic, but enough to erode confidence. Reports began to contradict one another. Units that should have linked up never did. Paths cleared minutes earlier became lethal without explanation. The humans were shaping the battlefield even as they gave it up. The alien commander demanded answers. Analysts fed him projections, but none aligned. Human resistance curves made no sense. According to all models, the defenders should have collapsed entirely by now. Instead, engagements were becoming shorter, sharper, and deadlier. Fewer humans were fighting, but each one was more effective than the last. Another tactical shift was ordered. Heavy units were brought forward. Shock troops cleared corridors with overwhelming force. This time, the humans did not retreat immediately. They held just long enough to expose the heavy units' movement patterns, then vanished. Minutes later, the environment itself turned hostile. Structural supports failed where heavy armor concentrated. Narrow passages collapsed. Mobility became a liability. Human squads exploited the chaos with ruthless efficiency, striking exposed flanks and disappearing again. The alien commander began to suspect something deeply wrong. By the time alien forces reached the inner sectors, the outpost was barely recognizable. Fires burned unchecked. Atmosphere vented in controlled bursts. Emergency systems cycled endlessly. To the attackers, it felt like wading through the aftermath of a disaster. To Earth, it was data beyond price. A quiet alert flashed across human command displays. Adaptive threshold exceeded. The humans had learned enough. On the Moon, alien troops secured another sector and paused to regroup. For the first time since the assault began, no human resistance followed. No shots. No traps. No retreating figures on sensors. The silence felt heavier than gunfire. The alien commander ordered a cautious advance toward the core, unease creeping into his voice. He could not name the feeling, only that something fundamental had shifted. The humans were no longer reacting. They were waiting. Far away, Earth's command finalized the next phase, satisfied. The drill was no longer about survival. It was about perfection. The aliens adjusted their tactics, convinced they had finally learned the humans' pattern. Formations tightened. Sensor sweeps intensified. Every corridor, every junction, every chamber was scanned for surprises. The expectation was that humanity would falter under concentrated pressure. They would make mistakes, expose weaknesses, and reveal the limits of their adaptability. Instead, the humans responded instantly. Ambushes shifted, countering the alien adjustments as though they had anticipated them before the orders were even given. Narrow corridors became lethal funnels. Automated turrets, previously jammed, now struck in perfect synchronization with human fire teams. Each attempt to corner or flank them was neutralized by defenders operating with terrifying efficiency. Alien commanders felt unease creep into their ranks. Every new tactic introduced by them was being exploited immediately. Equipment brought forward to gain the advantage was systematically dismantled or repurposed against them. Every breach, every maneuver, every advance the aliens attempted only provided the humans with new data, strengthening their response. Deep within the outpost, human elite units moved with precision. Smaller numbers, but lethally effective, they struck, withdrew, and reappeared where least expected. They were no longer retreating, they were shaping the battlefield. Every encounter was calculated to maximize learning and resource efficiency. The aliens were providing the ultimate training ground, unaware that they were the instructors. Alien units pushed forward, expecting resistance to waver. It did not. Doors that should have been sealed or trapped opened at exactly the right time to funnel attackers into confined zones. Emergency lighting flickered strategically, guiding human fire while disorienting alien forces. Even environmental hazards, pressure vents, gravity shifts, smoke dispersal, were timed perfectly to exploit alien movements. The alien commander's confidence began to erode. Communication with forward units became increasingly erratic. Reports contradicted one another. Units that should have supported each other were mysteriously neutralized or redirected. Human adaptability had reached a level no alien doctrine had accounted for. The humans' method was clear: each failure, each withdrawal, each apparent loss was a calculated lesson. As alien forces recalculated, human teams adjusted instantaneously. The battlefield itself seemed to obey human strategy rather than chaos. What had started as a defensive drill now felt like a controlled symphony of action, reaction, and refinement. The alien command network scrambled, attempting to predict the next human move. Predictions failed. Algorithms collapsed. Tactical models, derived from decades of observing humans, offered no guidance. The aliens were forced to improvise in real time, yet every improvisation was anticipated and countered. One by one, alien squads were funneled into pre-designed kill zones. Every misstep provided humans with new insights into alien tactics, every engagement strengthened Earth's command knowledge. The defenders, though fewer in number, operated with lethal precision, exploiting weaknesses, capitalizing on every misjudgment. A revelation began to dawn on the alien commander: this outpost had never been intended to survive. Its fall had been staged to teach humans, to perfect responses, to test adaptability against a real opponent. The elite units were no longer retreating, they were waiting for the exact moment to strike with complete understanding of the enemy. Morale among the alien ranks wavered. What they had assumed would be a straightforward victory was now a trap of knowledge and strategy beyond their comprehension. Every advance, every weapon, every calculation had been anticipated, learned from, and exploited. As alien forces reached what they believed to be the inner sanctum, human command confirmed completion of Phase 2. Data acquisition, behavioral analysis, environmental adaptation, all were now logged, compiled, and ready to inform the next stage. The humans had turned apparent failure into ultimate advantage, refining every response and honing every tactic. The aliens, once confident and dominant, now faced a truth they had not anticipated: they were no longer invaders. They were unwitting instructors, providing live experience to an enemy far more prepared than they could imagine. In the silence that followed, alien commanders realized the depth of human strategy. It was not mere survival instinct at work. It was calculation, adaptation, and learning accelerated to an extreme. They had walked into a battlefield designed not just to defend, but to educate, and the education was nearly complete. By the time the aliens understood the full scope, the humans had already perfected the next phase of engagement. Every movement they made, every weapon they deployed, and every tactical decision had been anticipated, analyzed, and countered. Humanity was no longer reacting, it was mastering. The alien commander's confidence crumbled entirely. What they had assumed was chaos was actually controlled evolution of tactics. What they thought was retreat was deliberate positioning. Every step the aliens had taken had been logged, learned from, and used against them in ways they could barely comprehend. Earth's elite had reached the pinnacle of preparation. The humans had not merely survived their worst-case scenario, they had used it to perfect strategies that would dominate any future confrontation. The aliens, despite their technological superiority, had unknowingly contributed to humanity's ultimate advantage. In the void of the outpost, one fact became undeniable: the humans had learned faster than the aliens could adapt, and by doing so, had ensured that no real enemy could ever catch them off guard again. The aliens believed the outpost was finally under their control. They moved cautiously, expecting only sporadic resistance, anticipating the occasional trap but convinced their dominance was absolute. Reports from forward units confirmed what they had long hoped. Human defenders were nearly wiped out, systems were failing, and morale seemed low. Victory appeared inevitable. Then the humans acted. The silence that followed was deliberate. No gunfire, no alarms, no movement detected. Alien sensors indicated nothing. Yet the commanders felt it, a shift in tension, subtle but unmistakable. Every calculation and assumption they had made about human behavior now seemed inadequate. The battlefield was quiet, but not empty. Suddenly, new energy signatures appeared in sectors previously considered secured. Fleet-level sensors registered massive human reinforcements emerging from hidden positions. Elite units, unseen until this moment, deployed with precision unmatched by any prior engagement. Their movements were coordinated without overt communication, every strike targeting weaknesses identified during the aliens' own advance. Alien formations collapsed under unexpected pressure. Tactical decisions made minutes earlier were rendered obsolete by instantaneous human counters. Weapons the aliens had relied upon were neutralized almost before deployment. Heavy units were funneled into ambushes they could not avoid. Every engagement seemed designed not only to inflict losses but to teach the humans how to dominate the battlefield fully. The realization hit Alien Command with crushing clarity. They had been participating in a drill, a live exercise orchestrated by their supposed prey. The outpost, its collapse, even the apparent human retreats had been orchestrated to collect data, refine strategies, and train forces against a real enemy. Every movement they had made was recorded, analyzed, and exploited to perfection. Panic and disbelief spread through alien ranks. The confidence that had fueled the assault evaporated. Units attempted to regroup, but every adjustment was anticipated, countered, and nullified. The humans, using fewer resources but superior strategy, dictated the flow of battle completely. Losses mounted rapidly, and communication failures became widespread as alien networks were systematically disrupted. Earth's command monitored the operation with clinical detachment. Every drill parameter had been satisfied, every lesson learned, every weakness mapped. What the aliens thought was an invasion was actually a masterclass in human strategy, adaptability, and resilience. Civilian survival protocols, elite unit deployment, environmental manipulation, all were executed flawlessly. By the time the alien fleet understood the situation, it was too late. Human forces, having perfected engagement strategies through controlled defeat, now struck decisively. Alien units were annihilated where they had once celebrated victory. Ships fell under coordinated strikes, boarding parties were neutralized with surgical precision, and command hierarchies crumbled under unexpected pressure. The aliens' final broadcasts were filled with confusion, shock, and a grudging acknowledgement of human superiority. They had underestimated the capacity of humanity to learn, adapt, and turn disaster into decisive advantage. The outpost, once seen as insignificant, had become the proving ground for a force capable of countering any threat, anywhere. As silence settled over the battlefield, Earth's command logged the final results. The drill had concluded not merely as a test, but as a demonstration. If this was humanity's worst day, its best was beyond any alien calculation. The lesson was clear: humans did not rely on strength alone, nor on technology alone. They relied on intelligence, adaptability, and foresight, and that combination made them unstoppable. The aliens who survived would carry the story back to their fleets, a warning of a species who appeared weak, fell under pressure deliberately, but mastered the art of war faster than any enemy could anticipate. Humanity had turned a scenario designed to simulate disaster into an exercise in absolute supremacy, and nothing could prepare any foe for what would come next. In the void beyond the outpost, one undeniable truth remained. Humans had not only survived the worst, they had used it to ensure dominance in every battle that followed. The aliens had learned too late that their enemy had been prepared all along, and the galaxy would never again mistake Earth for weak or vulnerable.